First up on the show, well, pressure is mounting on Israel to finalize a ceasefire deal before Ramadan. The US President Joe Biden has hinted that Israel may halt its operations in Gaza if a ceasefire deal being worked on goes through. However, the Hamas has refuted these claims as premature, and Qatar, a key negotiator, has refused to confirm any such development. Now, speaking on the Israeli operations in Gaza, the US President Joe Biden appreciated Israel's efforts to evacuate Palestinians from Rafah before it intensifies its operations in the south. The US President's statement comes after the Israeli Prime Minister stated that Israel will only be weeks away from attaining victory if it launches the Rafah offensive. The U.S. National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, said that Qatar and Egypt mediators will hold discussions with Hamas to reach a ceasefire deal.
Well, I hope by the beginning of the weekend, the end of the weekend. At least my national security advisor tells me that we're close. We're close. It's not done yet. And my hope is by next Monday we'll have a ceasefire.
One of the key mediators that is negotiating a ceasefire deal between the two factions, Qatar, has refused to confirm whether a deal will be finalized by next week. Qatar's foreign ministry has said that there has been no breakthrough to announce a ceasefire deal, but that Qatar was pushing hard for the agreement sketched out in Paris to be accepted by both factions.
We cannot comment on the course of the current negotiations. With regard to the US President's comments, I think it would be better to ask the White House about this. From our side, we don't have any news regarding this matter. The efforts are ongoing, as you all know. The meetings are ongoing and all parties are continuously meeting. But currently, the deadline that has been put, we hope that it was today before tomorrow. However, we have no comment on the deadline.
Currently, Hamas is reading a draft proposal for the Gaza truce talks in Paris. The draft proposal includes a 40-day pause in all military operations. It also includes the exchange of Palestinian prisoners for Israeli hostages at a ratio of 10-1. The draft also states that Hamas would free 40 Israeli hostages in exchange of around 400 Palestinian prisoners. Now, Israel and Hamas are continuing to blame each other for the delay in the ceasefire. The Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh met with Qatari Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani and said his group had embraced efforts to find an end to the war. However, the Hamas official accused Israel of stalling while Gazans die under siege. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said Israel was ready for a deal and it was up to the Hamas to drop demands he described as from another planet. Meanwhile, Israel's $500 billion economy has taken a major hit during more than 4 months of this war against Hamas, during which thousands of people have left the Israeli workforce and gone to serve in the military. This as the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is facing immense pressure from the Israeli public to free the more than 100 hostages who remain in Gaza, which include the bodies of those believed to be no longer alive. And for the very latest on this, our correspondent Jody Cohen sent us this report. Listen in.
So President Biden has said that he hopes for a deal to release more hostages and have a pause in the fighting, potentially over the weekend or by Monday. Now, that's a few days before Biden's State of the Union address and roughly 1 week before Ramadan begins. And on CBS, he said that Israel had agreed to halt Gaza action during Ramadan under a truce deal. Now, Israel has said before that it would carry out the operation against the last 25% of Hamas battalions who are in Rafah by Ramadan if a deal to release more hostages is not agreed, but that if a deal is agreed, that would involve a pause in the fighting. Now, according to reports, a deal would involve a pause of roughly 6 weeks, the release of approximately 40 Israeli hostages, and the early release from prison of roughly 400 Palestinian security prisoners. And Hamas is said to be examining the deal now, and it remains to be seen if they agree.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.